Okay.
Okay, I'm going. Hi, Joshua.
Hi, Wendy.
So you've been tweeting out here?
I have been tweeting out there, yes.
Do you want to tell me about tweeting at Occupy Oakland and why?
I've been out here mostly tweeting when things are getting a little hot.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
not staying here full time, but I've been coming out here when there are big actions,
Right.
or during craziness.
And before we go on, there were rumors because I guess there was kind of another eviction notice from the city. So
Right.
maybe are you guys worried like 4 in the morning?
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So.
Now, there's some indication that it won't be tonight.
Yeah, because it feels really, really amazing and beautiful out here. I could never imagine.
Well, I mean, things can change pretty quickly. I think I've seen that happen a few times. Things were pretty peaceful after the general strike, but they went south really quickly. But I've taken a tour around the neighborhood just now, and I went down to the police station, and I don't see any police like massing.
Right.
So I think they need to prepare a little bit before they actually come in.
It's getting expensive.
Yes, it's costing millions of dollars. And this is the thing about Oakland is you have these extremes, right? Either there's the minimal police presence or an overwhelming show of militarized force. There's nothing in between here. So they run up hundreds of thousands of dollars over time.
So you're using social media.
That's right.
So how do you use it?
Well, I think it gives us an opportunity to do live reporting of events on the ground that the mainstream media is skipping. I've seen 3 or 4 times here the news vans that are always here on the corner, right before things start to get really bad. I've seen them leave.
Oh yeah.
So people out here with live streams, Occupy Show.
He's so good.
For example.
He's the best.
And people with Twitter accounts are keeping the whole nation informed.
Yeah.
When the mainstream media is taking off, before things get hairy.
Yeah.
So I think that the social media allows people to have an unfiltered connection to what's going on.
It's safety, right? Would you say there's a safety coming through use of social media?
I mean, at least accountability. I haven't seen the police,
There you go, yeah.
temper their behavior a lot, but what they're doing is getting caught on camera.
Right.
And there's evidence. So, in the past, it was just routine that they would sweep allegations of excessive force under the rug.
Right.
And they would just say that didn't happen, and there would be no record to contradict what they're saying. So now what you have is a situation where, the National Lawyers Guild and the ACLU, they can get their hands on videotapes done by citizen journalists or whatever you would call them, and it gives them a means of holding police accountable that they didn't have before.
Would you say that we're about to go through like an experimental time in the courts with all the new video footage that's going to come out?
Well, I mean, it's not that new. There's already been a good deal of litigation about people's right to videotape police on the job, and they've won those cases by and large. But the thing about the court that makes it a little difficult for a protest movement like this is there are some issues that you can litigate very quickly, but most things don't have any sort of fast track. So they take years to percolate through the system before you actually resolve them. So, for example, they're still litigating allegations of police abuse during the 2004 RNC convention in New York. That was 7 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
So these things don't wrap up very quickly. Now, there's some things, again, that you can get a fast track. Like ACLU of Northern California has been trying to get police reports for the earlier crackdown here on their use of force. But they've been resisting so far. The police are claiming an exemption to the Public Records Act, and they can get a fast track, get a hearing within a few weeks if need be on that matter.
Do you think that the social media is helping unite the occupations around the world?
Definitely. I don't see how you cannot see that.
So it's almost like, I mean, in my opinion, it's like the movement was ready, and all it needed was the mechanism, and now it's happening as soon as everybody had to, as soon as there was enough access, it happened.
Well, I think as soon as there was enough economic pain to wake people up, it happened. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
I mean, this did start on Wall Street. It is about spiraling inequality and economic issues. I think are at the core of it, right?
Yeah.
Even here in Oakland, where there's local issues like shutting down schools and libraries, those are economic issues too. So, that's at the core of all of this. I think things had to get pretty bad before people woke up.
Yeah, I think you're right. So that sounds good. What hashtags do you recommend on Twitter?
Oh, well, I mean, I use hashtag Occupy Oakland. OO gives you more space.
Right. Yeah. Any other Occupy sites that you've been interacting with, or?
Well, I mean, I've been tracking the occupations around the country. So, like, for example, tonight it's Portland, St. Louis.
There's a couple. What can I do for you?
Salt Lake City. These are the occupations under threat tonight.
Right.
So I've been watching all of those.
There was a discussion I saw online about maybe it could be federally, driven.
Yeah, I don't know. I also saw rumors about that. I don't really know quite how that works. I don't think there's really a federal authority that can order this. These are city actions, right? I mean,
it would not be
maybe there's some coordination among city managers, but I don't really think there's a federal authority that can order them.
They're about as organized as the GA.
Setting a low bar, yes. Exactly. So, I just don't. Although I've heard those rumors, but there's a lot of rumors. That's the flip side of social media, right? It's like a big game of telephone. Little tidbits of information get passed on. A lot of times they get distorted.
Right.
I mean, I've run around I've run down to Occupy San Fran where they were like, we're being evicted right now.
I was there that night.
Going on.
Yeah, we got there and they were like, oh no, everything's fine. And then the city district supervisors came.
Yeah.
Were you there?
Yeah, I was.
I was there.
I mean, that's an interesting story in that, Ed Lee has been wanting to evict Occupy SF, but during the mayoral race, nobody wanted to, it was a political hot potato. Nobody wanted to be seen as endorsing the kind of, militarized crowd control you see here, which would have been necessary there too. So it was like a little political force field around Occupy. So I think there's a good chance that Occupy SF will be evicted sometime soon.
You think so?
Now that the election is over.
There were 4 district supervisors that came out in strong support. They really spoke beautifully that night.
Yes, they were eloquent.
I hardly saw hardly any footage of them. I wish that there was more. CBS 7 was there.
Yeah. Well, but they got there pretty late.
They were there at 2 in the morning.
At 2 in the morning. So I think a lot of the news media had already cleared out.
Too bad.
It was too bad.
We should get those. That was really. They were a great example of. Yeah, Avalos was really special.
And I'd seen him maybe 10 days before that night when they were 2 weeks, something like that, when they had cleared out, they had evicted the tents in front of the Federal Reserve Building. There was that original encampment. And he was down there trying to intervene with the commander on the scene, the police commander on the scene.
Amazing.
He was trying to negotiate.
And he had some clout.
I mean, he didn't have enough to stop it.
So I just want to finish if you want, or we'll see. Well, I was just gonna say, Jane Kim spoke really good, and Eric Marr spoke really good.
Yes, yeah.
And they were all great.
Yes, they are.
You know?
I mean, now there's, I think, pressure on Ed Lee to clean up that can.
You're right.
I think so.
Then we have Berkeley. Berkeley council member Chris Worthington has really been articulate. I heard about that.
Yeah. I don't really understand the kind of abuse that you saw out in Berkeley the other day. And that kind of shocked me just because of where it was and who it was. I think, to tell you the truth, we've come to expect, a certain amount of force from the Oakland Police Department. I mean, they're infamous for it, right? These were Berkeley kids. I mean, they were
Yeah.
monthly kids.
Yeah, it was surprising. Did you see the video where they just got beat up?
I mean, and they were holding, they were linking arms. I mean, it was such classic nonviolent resistance, you know, for them to just wail on them was kind of shocking.
It was really shocking.
And don't they know that there's cameras on them when they do it? Like,
I know.
I just don't even. So I was talking to someone actually from the ACLU, and I asked that very question. I said, well, don't they know that there's cameras on them? And she said something pretty interesting. She said, it's the same, there's a reality TV effect, where if you have cameras on you all the time,
You're used to it.
You just tune them out at some point, and your true nature comes out. You can't always edit yourself.
Yeah,
You know, so at some point you just behave the way you
I've forgotten your
do
name and I
naturally.
feel very badly for that.
Well, I think this is.
Jack?
I think we should turn it off because I think
I can remember that.
it's party time and
You want to
stuff.
save your battery.
Well, that too. But do you want to just say any last words?
Nice to meet you again.
Yeah, like special wishes, success,
Well, I
a
wish
good
everybody-
future.
I wish everybody well, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good night.